West Verdugo Gang History. The West Verdugo Gang, also known as the West Verdugo Locos, WVL, is a well-known Hispanic street gang that has its roots in the Verdugo neighborhood of San Bernardino, California. Here's a detailed history of the West Verdugo Gang. Verdugo Gangsters, San Bernardino. The Verdugo Gangsters, a Latino gang operating in San Bernardino, California, comprises three subsets: West Side Verdugo, East Side Verdugo, and South Side Verdugo. They garnered attention after a quadruple homicide, dubbed Dead Presidents, involving two of their leaders, who were killed by childhood friends. Verdugo Origins. According to Bobby Vega, a community leader and co-founder of the Urban Conservation Corps, Verdugo is a term used by the Mexican American community for San Bernardino. This name dates back to the 1940s and is used mainly by Chicanos in the West Side community. Westside Verdugo, WSV. The Westside Verdugo is the largest Latino gang in the San Bernardino Valley, with roots dating back to the 1950s. The Westside Verdugo Mount Vernon Rifa cliques include the 7th Street Locos, Calle Siete Locos, Sir Crazy Ones, and the Counts Gang. Early gangs. In the 1950s, the Toperos, based in El Barrio Topo or Topo City, were prominent in the Mount Vernon area. They often clashed with gangs east of Mount Vernon Avenue. Counts Gang. The Counts Gang includes cliques like Little Counts, LC, Junior Counts, Junior Counts, Royal Counts, RC, and Lady Counts, female clique. In the 1950s, a Counts gang existed on the east side, frequently battling West Side gangs. Sir Crazy Ones, WSV, SCO. Their territory stretches from Baseline Street to 16th Street, between Mount Vernon and the 215 freeway. The primary clique is 14th Street, Calle 14. They are known for their animosity towards police after Adrian Gutierrez, SCO, was shot by an officer in 2010. 7th Street Gang. Also known as Calle Siete Locos, CSL. This gang is based on 7th Street, bordered by 16th Street and 5th Street between Mount Vernon Avenue and the 215 freeway. They gained notoriety in 2000 after their leader Johnny Agudo and his brother were murdered. Manor Boys, 187 Murder Block. Operating independently, their territory spans from Foothill Boulevard to King Street, between Macy Street and Terrace Street. They are located south of Calle Siete Locos and north of South Side Verdugo. East Side Verdugo, ESV. The East Side Verdugo, ESV, also known as East Side Verdugo 13, operates east of the 215 freeway in San Bernardino. They include smaller gangs such as the East Side Verdugo Meadowbrook Dukes. Their area stretches from 2nd Street to Sierra Way, between Mill Street and Waterman Avenue. Other East Side gangs include Verdugo Waterman Gardens, ESVWG, East Side Verdugo Valley, Baez, and East Side Verdugo Dwight Way Gang, ESVDWG. South Side Verdugo, SSVF. The South Side Verdugo Flats, SSVF, formerly known as the Marijuanos, are located in the southwest region of San Bernardino. Their territory spans from 3rd Street to Grant Avenue, between Muscat and the Interstate 215 freeway. Key cliques include Pear Street and Congress Street. Entertainment, Big Jeff 187, Manor Boys, and Young Bandit, Little Counts, are rappers affiliated with the West Side Verdugo subsets. They release music under Corporate Policy Entertainment, also known as Corporate Policy Mafia. Other artists include Baby Blue, producer, and Big Balla, Mount Vernon Rifa. Gang intrigue, greed, and betrayal. The Dead President's Case. On San Bernardino's West Side, Johnny and Gilbert Agudo were well-known figures. They grew up in the close-knit barrio, becoming leaders of the West Side Verdugo Street Gang. Johnny, 31, of the 7th Street Locos, and Gilbert, 27, of the Little Counts. Together, they led their gangs in territorial feuds against rival groups. However, Events took a tragic turn on the morning of July 9, 2000. Police responded to a shooting behind a West Side duplex, finding the Agudo brothers and two half-brothers, Marcelino and Anthony Luna, either dead or dying. It was the largest gang slaying in San Bernardino's recent history. Survivors included Armando Villaseñor Velarde and Michael Velarde. The so-called Dead President's Case, named after the Agudo brothers who were presidents of their respective gangs, saw its trials unfold over the next decade. Prosecutors charged Luis Maldito Mendoza, a childhood friend of the Agudos and a member of the 7th Street Gang, with orchestrating the killings on behalf of the Mexican Mafia. Mendoza, alongside his cousin Froilan Chipres, led the hit squad that carried out the murders. Lorenzo Arias, another gang member, was also involved. John Ramirez, part of Mendoza's crew, pleaded guilty and testified against the others. In 2008, Mendoza and Arias were sentenced to death for their roles in the quadruple homicide. Chipres, extradited from Tijuana in 2011, received multiple life sentences. Ramirez served 12 years in prison for his cooperation with prosecutors. The community was shocked by the betrayal, as all involved were members of Johnny Agudo's gang. It was unheard of for a West Side gang to kill one of its own. The Agudos, a Mexican-American family with deep roots in the barrio, clashed with the newly arrived Mendoza family from Mexico. Despite these tensions, Johnny Agudo and Mendoza's brother had co-founded the 7th Street Locos, making the betrayal even more shocking. Prosecutors describe the Dead President's Case as a story of neighborhood bonds destroyed by power, betrayal, and greed. At the heart of it all is the Mexican Mafia, which has turned many Southern California gang members against each other. "You grow up with somebody 15 or 20 years and he tries to kill you," said a gang member who requested anonymity. Something's wrong there. San Bernardino's West Side, historically isolated by the Santa Fe Railroad and later the 215 freeway, once thrived with local jobs at the Santa Fe Train Repair Shop, Kaiser Steel Factory, and Norton Air Force Base. Despite economic decline and the rise of drugs like PCP and crack, the neighborhood remained resilient. In the 1980s, break dancing, particularly through groups like Breaking Crew and Break Force, provided a positive outlet for youth. However, the closure of major employers and the influx of drugs led to increased gang activity and violence. Johnny and Gilbert Agudo, influenced by these changes, became hardened gang members and leaders. The arrival of new immigrants further strained the community, as long-standing Mexican-American families felt displaced. The Mexican Mafia, known as the IM, began imposing new rules on Latino street gangs in Southern California during the 1990s. They directed gangs to tax drug dealers in their areas, with disobedience resulting in death. This shift in power dynamics led to increased violence and internal conflicts within gangs. In 1999, Johnny Agudo was arrested while preparing for an IM-ordered killing. To reduce his sentence, he informed on Salvador Toro Hernandez, a reputed IM member controlling West Side drug dealing. Hernandez's subsequent arrest and imprisonment allegedly led him to issue a death warrant on Johnny Agudo. The night of the killings, a confrontation over this green light and control of the neighborhood for the IM resulted in the fatal shootings. Gilbert Agudo was also killed to prevent retaliation, and the Luna brothers were targeted as witnesses. Since the murders, the West Side neighborhood has struggled. The Mexican Mafia has found it difficult to maintain control, as the code against killing each other has been shattered. Angel Agudo, whose family left the West Side, expressed his lack of surprise at his brother's deaths, citing the greed, envy, and power struggles that eroded neighborhood unity. The murder trial has exposed the deep-seated issues of gang intrigue and greed that continue to impact the West Side community. Adding another layer of complexity to the case, it was revealed that Johnny Agudo had been working as a confidential informant for the police months before his death. Arrested in May 1999 for selling narcotics, Agudo agreed to provide information about narcotics in the area, which led to the arrest of a high-ranking Mexican Mafia member. San Bernardino Police Sergeant Gary Scholke testified that they tried to keep Agudo's informant status secret, but despite their efforts, such informants often get discovered and sometimes killed. Agudo's cooperation with the police might have contributed to the motive behind the killings, as his actions betrayed the gang's code of loyalty. The trial underscores the deadly consequences of power struggles within gangs, exacerbated by external pressures from the Mexican Mafia. The tragic events serve as a stark reminder of the destructive impact of gang life on individuals and communities. Gang injunctions and indictments. Cracking down on organized crime. The San Bernardino City Attorney and Police Department obtained permanent gang injunctions against 3 West Side Verdugo subsets. The 7th Street Gang, 1998, the Sir Crazy Gang, 2000, and the South Side Verdugo Flats, 2003. Operation Westside Guillotine. 35 indicted in crackdown on San Bernardino Street Gang linked to Mexican Mafia. On Thursday, April 25, 2019, federal and local authorities announced charges against 35 alleged gang members and associates of a San Bernardino-based gang, implicating them in drug trafficking and other offenses. The suspects, belonging to the West Side Verdugo gang, a group tied to the Mexican Mafia, are accused of smuggling drugs into San Bernardino communities and jails. Authorities claim these individuals intentionally got themselves arrested to smuggle drugs into county and city jails via body cavity. The investigation began when gang intelligence learned of a gang member deliberately getting arrested to smuggle drugs. During a body cavity search, deputies discovered methamphetamine, heroin, 5 syringes, and 20 packets of opioids on one of the members. The operation, dubbed Operation Westside Guillotine, aimed to dismantle the gang and disrupt their activities. In a coordinated raid by multiple law enforcement agencies across San Bernardino, 24 alleged members and associates were arrested. 10 of the indicted individuals were already in state custody. Authorities are still seeking one suspect, identified as Angel Martinez. The federal indictments include charges of conspiracy, narcotics violations, firearms violations, identity theft, and money laundering. The arrests followed a nearly 2-year investigation that uncovered a methamphetamine and heroin distribution network. During the investigation, authorities seized over 30 pounds of methamphetamine. According to the federal indictment, the street gang is responsible for the trafficking and distribution of drugs throughout Southern California on behalf of the Mexican Mafia. The 35 indicted individuals face possible life sentences under the federal charge of conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. Carolina Avila, whose boyfriend was among those arrested, insisted on his innocence, stating, "Everything is a misunderstanding, and I know it. None of this is true." Operation Green Hen. 5 men charged in San Bernardino slaying of Mexican Mafia member's wife. 5 men, identified by police as gang members, have been charged in the San Bernardino shooting death of 4, the wife of a Mexican Mafia member. The murder, orchestrated behind bars, involved 3 of the defendants who were already in the state prison system. One of the accused, Eric Moreno, has since been slain. Maria del Carmen Rodriguez, 41, of North Hills, was killed on January 18, 2017. Authorities have not disclosed a motive for the murder, but the charges indicate it was planned by the defendants to benefit and further criminal conduct by their gang. The complaint also accuses the defendants of street terrorism. Although the charges don't specify the shooter, one defendant is charged with being a felon in possession of a handgun on the night of the murder. Maria del Carmen Rodriguez, previously identified by authorities as Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez, was shot in a parking lot outside a cafe on North Mount Vernon Avenue and later died at a local hospital. Her husband, Andrew Rodriguez, a member of the San Bernardino-based Westside Verdugo gang and the Mexican Mafia, died under suspicious circumstances at Pelican Bay State Prison 3 months later. His death remains under investigation. On July 11, 2018, the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office filed murder charges against the 5 accused gang members. Eric Moreno, 30, was killed in his cell at Kern Valley State Prison just days later. His cellmate, Daniel Olguin, 36, also from San Bernardino County, was named as a suspect in Moreno's death. The investigation into Maria del Carmen Rodriguez's murder involved a multi-agency task force, leading to the arrests and charges. Besides Moreno, the defendants are Isaac Aguirre, 44, Robert Fernandez, 43, Richard Garcia, 45, and Matthew Manzano, 35. Moreno, Garcia, and Manzano were in California prisons when the plot was hatched and executed, with Aguirre and Fernandez now in local custody. Aguirre is charged with murder and being a felon in possession of a handgun on the night of the shooting. Court records show Garcia was sentenced to life without parole in 1998 for murder, and Manzano received 2 consecutive life without parole terms in 2010 for a 2005 double murder. Moreno had been sentenced to 10 years in 2015 for firearm possession by a felon and gang participation. Aguirre and Fernandez have pleaded not guilty to the charges related to Maria del Carmen Rodriguez's murder. 4 of the defendants are members of the West Side Verdugo gang, while Manzano is from a Redlands gang. These gangs operate under the control of the Mexican Mafia from prison. The task force's Operation Green Hand, resulted in 86 additional arrests for various offenses including weapons, conspiracy, auto theft, and narcotics charges. The agencies involved in the task force included the San Bernardino Police Department's Homicide Unit, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Fontana Police, the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, the California Highway Patrol, and the State Department of Justice. The purpose of this task force was to target gang members in prison who were attempting to influence local street gangs in San Bernardino and identify those involved in the murder of Carmen Rodriguez, stated the San Bernardino Police Department. Allies and rivals. The Verdugo gang has a known rivalry with Los Angeles street gangs such as Florence 13, F13, and Boulevard Stoners Ray, KBS. Their primary adversary is the East Side Trece, a violent Latino gang from South Los Angeles. In April 2005, East Side Verdugo members killed a Florence 13 member in an East Side Verdugo Dwight Way gang-dominated area. The West Side Verdugos, especially the South Side Flats, also feud with Latino street gangs in neighboring cities, including East Side Colton and North Side Colton.